What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the converSAYtion podcast, where we turn converSAYtion into application. I am your host, Leon Reed Jones, and we got two very special guests in the building today, man. This is our season finale, man, so I had to kick the season finale off right, man. I love what these guys are doing, and I just so happen to know these guys. We got Eric and Michael in the building. We got my boy Dre in the building. What's going on, fellas? Y'all all right?
What up, Lee?
Yes, sir, man. I'm good, man. Glad to have y'all on, man. Before we get started into the, converSAYtion for today, I want to ask you guys something that I always ask all my guests that stop through the podcast. And that question is, what would you title this chapter of your life? If you had to give it a title, what would you title this chapter of your life right now, this season?
We go first. You got it.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I titled this chapter what God spoke to me this year. This is a year of evidence, where the things that I've been sowing, the things I've been preparing for, and the things that I've been obedient to, God is now going to allow others to see what He's doing through me.
Yeah.
And with my work and the dedication and my faith, people are going to see the fruits of my labor, and that's just evidence, just like of how good God is,
Yeah.
and how faithful He is, and you're faithful to Him. So I put it like that, because I can get it going, but this
Sure, man. We here for that though. But no, man, I respect that, Dre.
Ooh.
So he opened up with a banger,
My movie might get delayed because of that one. I think that's a good question, because I feel like my life is a movie, so the title changes every feeling that I get. But I would say, like, right now, considering where I'm at, where I want to go for the rest of the year, I would say the reawakening. I say the reawakening just because there's a lot of things that I have in my mind in terms of ideas, in terms of concept, things I want to execute.
Yeah.
And I think that there was a point in time where I feel like I slept on myself. And similar to like E said, you never know what God has in store for you. At the same time, it's always about the application, similar to what you say, you're opening. So for me, I would say the reawakening is just stepping into the things that I know that I'm skilled enough, gifted enough, and already, equipped with to do. So the reawakening.
Sure, man. Love that, man. That sounds like some mixtapes or a gospel album.
Man, hey,
he came through with evidence. That's a 6-song EP, man.
Yes,
Come on now. But, man, another thing, man, we got some March babies in the building, man. So shout out to E, man. His birthday in a few days, man.
Yes, sir.
So
29 last year in the 20s.
Yes, sir.
Person 30, aging like fine wine. Don't play with me.
Yeah, you see the energy we coming with, man. Stop it. Yeah, man. And I'm excited to have y'all on, man, just because as young black men in this space and just people who, like you said, are obedient to God. And, I love what you said, Eric, about God using you to bless others, in a sense, to see what can happen when you're obedient to God.
Yeah.
And that success looks different for all of us, but the fact that He's allowing you to be used and to minister to others by way of the gifts and talents that He's lended you, man, I think that's dope to see, man, firsthand, whether it's speaking, whether it's putting on events, man, which we're going to get into, man. I felt that it was only right for us to do this as the season finale, because I love what y'all doing. And the fact that y'all have teamed up, me being around both of you guys individually and seeing y'all come together as a dynamic duo, bro, that's not only great for the city, that's just great for people in general, even that aren't from the city, seeing that, man. So I love what y'all doing, bro. It's dope to see, man. So, Dre, you said something on your story the other day, man, and I had to replay it because it was interesting, man. You talked about it was like a food for thought type of thing. You said something along the lines of, like, you could be gifted and talented in a lot of areas, but you got to be known for something, or you got to, in a sense, in a way, to master something. Why do you feel like that's so important, not just in this space, but just in life in general?
Yeah, 100%. And it's similar to, I think the quote is, like a gift of all trades with a master of none.
Yeah.
Paraphrasing. So same concept, and I think it's important because it's so easy to get caught up in doing stuff very vague. At the same time, it's more difficult to truly channel one thing that you're exceptionally well at.
Right.
Because it takes consistency, it takes discipline, it takes the reps, it takes the learning through the lessons, through the failures.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people are willing to go down that road because it's going to test you to a point where you didn't even know that you were capable of even accomplishing it.
Yeah.
Versus you just dibbling and dabbling into multiple areas that essentially just soothe the time.
Yeah.
So for me, I find myself constantly seeking where I most value, and how do I position myself in those environments at the highest level at the most frequent rate.
Yeah.
Because that is the way that I can optimize my gifts and talents, but that's the best way for me to be used. It's honestly ironic that we have this conversation. I spoke to my dad today. One of the things he talked about was servitude.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an area that I've been in, especially within this role as co-founder of Just Create, just being in an area where you can not just be in the front, but more so learn a role that you need to play, but housed within your skill set.
Exactly.
So for me, I'm a connector, I'm a strategic planner, and then I'm also somebody who has a lot of soft skills that can move a room in terms of the way I can speak, the way I can articulate myself. And I stay within that lane because it allows me to, one, gravitate towards the people that I want to impact, and then vice versa. Those people who feel as though that they want to be impacted, they essentially come to me. So as long as I'm staying within that realm and serving other people, I'm essentially doing my due justice by just staying sharp on the areas that I'm most skilled at.
Yeah.
Same thing, if I call myself Mr. Duffy, it's like you in your Duffy because you're in the element of what you are the best at, and you're constantly betting on yourself because you know that at the end of the day, that's the most reward you're going to get out of that investment.
Yeah. And I think the fact that you brought that up about nickname, most people know you by Mr. Duffy, and you being skilled and saying, hey man, let's plan, let's sit down, let's be strategic about this. Mm-hmm. That is what open doors like Just Create. Mm-hmm. That's what's open doors for you to go speak to young men and go be a part of stuff like Black Tech Saturdays and all of these different things because you are a master of your craft. Mm-hmm. And now these different things have opened up for you. 100%. And, I resonated with that because it's like, man, people get into this because I think over the last few years, what we've seen is like, it's almost, in some people's minds, it's necessary for me to have a side hustle or this, be a content creator if that's what you're into, or a gang, like whatever you want to do, it's almost necessary now because you see the lanes that it's opening up for you or the opportunities that come with it. But I think people are so like, oh, I seen E and Dre doing this, so let me get on this. Mm-hmm. But that's the whole point. That's another big point of why it's like, man, don't just do it because you've seen us, because you may get out there and this not the bag for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to find your niche. So it's trial and error that come with it, but don't just, I always tell people like, I'm never going to tell somebody to not start a podcast. I'm never going to tell somebody to not want to speak or do whatever it is that you want to do. Mm-hmm. But you got to know why you want to do it. Don't do it because you saw me. Like, okay, I could be the inspiration. Yeah. But what happened when that go away? You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I love that, man, because I think that's so vital to not just a creative or a content creator's mindset, but I think in general, bro, like you got to, if you're not skilled at nothing, you can have all the qualifications, but it's like, man, if you can't do it, I'm asking you to do it. Yeah. Like, and I think about what Keon was telling us, which I'm gonna kind of pivot to, about when we were going through like the boot camp of speaking or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he like, man, somebody somewhere, when they know you got a gift, they willing to pay for that. And it's not to say that you going in all for the money, but like, as far as where I'm going with the conversation or whatever, he was like, yo, when you have mastered your craft, somebody is going to be willing to pay for that. But if you don't, if you just a jack of all trades, like you said, and you a master of nothing, it's like, bro, what can you really bring to this space, or what can you bring to whatever space that you're trying to be impactful and inspiring in? So, man, I just think that's very important. And so, I kind of want to get this question to you because we met through Keon, the Speakers Conference, and what you said always stick with me. I find myself telling my mentees this, like, and even people around me, like you said something when we were speaking, like, when you become you, they become them, bro. So, like, for you, just talk a little bit about that story, and then talk about what the Speakers Conference did for your path in general.
I got you. So I'm gonna answer it. I'm also gonna it's gonna have some notes.
Yeah.
Same thing. Because everything plays a purpose.
Yeah.
Just like there's no wasted ink in the Bible, there's no wasted time or moments in your life.
Yeah.
So everything plays a part. When he said, if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none, that brought me back to when I was doing Forex at the time, right?
Yeah.
I went to a conference and one of the top leaders said that to me, right? I didn't understand it then. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? But it took time for me to have that unpacked and stuff, right? And then as I started to find out what that meant, I was still trying to learn. I was learning who I was, right?
Yeah.
So I remember when I did go to the speaker conference and everything, I had a good grasp or idea, but I didn't understand exactly the totality of what I was carrying, right? So I think one thing that's beautiful about the speaker conference was that was like a prophetic moment that I didn't know was prophetic.
Yeah.
I remember I was talking about Genesis 12:1, Abraham, go to, leave your family, everything you know, and go to the land I will show you, right?
Right.
I remember I was saying that. And I didn't even know what I was saying. So when I said that, when you become you, they become them, that was one of the things in the moment. And I didn't understand that until I actually became me.
Right.
Until I learned who Eric was, until I took the time to unpack the unhealthy habits that Eric allowed to be curated over time. And I got so focused and locked in on me where it was like nothing else mattered. It was like it didn't matter if I lost people along the way because I knew what I was doing. Because sometimes people are around you because of what you offer. And then when you pivot, it's like, well, you don't serve the same purpose anymore. So why am I here? If we get upset, we're like, well, why am I losing peers? And how come I'm not getting invited to certain places? It's not because you're elevating. Right. You're shifting. Yeah. And when you shift, if they don't shift with you, that's not an issue. Because you're going a certain direction because now you have clarity. Yeah. And with Just Create, that's one of the biggest things that the sole purpose of it is the clarity that we've got to this destination. Because, Dre had to go on his own journey to get to where he is now. Same for me. But if we didn't go do the things that we went through, we went through basically the good, bad, and the ugly. Yeah. It Just Create wouldn't have been. And it's crazy I'm saying it that, it's not even, I don't think we've touched the surface yet. But it's just kind of like the impact we have. It wouldn't have happened if we didn't do the hard thing. Yeah. If we was willing to do what others want. If we was willing to put work in, we was willing to go through the ugly seasons of stuff. Because, in entrepreneurship in general, it's not always cute. Yeah. Where people see us now, me and Jerry was talking a couple weeks ago. This wasn't something that was normal. Like in 2023, we in the red. Like we're putting our own money into these events and stuff. And sometimes I wouldn't even get anything. I just make sure everybody else like this. You know what? That was one time I talk about this a lot. It was one event where we didn't make too much money. I don't think we made any money for it. We had a little something. Yeah. And I was like, here, Dre, just take it. One, because I'm like, I wanted to do that. I'm like, I know this is going to be something later. But then two, I knew Dre's pissed at me. He was like, bro, I'm getting tired of losing money. So let me I'm let him keep this. But it's just kind of like just to now, though, from 2023, like I said, we're putting money into our own events, right? Yeah. To now, the events are paying for itself. Yeah. Either somebody is paying for the event or the event is paying for itself. Right. There is something that we created that has value that people say that I want to be in the room. Yeah. There's something that is in the room. There's something they're offering. There's something that they're creating. that I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've grown in a way, people will say, I didn't expect for it to happen this fast.
Yeah.
And my response is, you don't even know how fast God can move when you're obedient.
Right.
Because God is showing me, like, it's not supposed to take that long.
Yeah.
The things that we think are going to take, okay, if I do this for 3, 5, God's saying, man, I'll cut that in half, more than half.
Yeah.
All I need is your yes. And that's one thing that I've been curating, You just said one thing that stood out to you. Now what I'm building is people like invested in my yes.
Yeah.
Because every event that I do, every post that I say, watch what God does with my yes. Because I want people to see and feel included in what's being built.
Yeah.
So then they're like, man, if E can do this, if Dre can do this, if etc. can do this, what can I do?
Yeah.
And I like how you said, don't do something because you see us doing it.
Right.
Inspiration, yeah. It's kind of like, listen, my oil ain't your oil.
Right.
So what God graced me for
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean he's gracing you for it. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but you can do what Eric does.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm E. Michael.
Yeah.
I'm not Mr. Duffy.
Yeah.
That's two different personas.
Yeah.
And because we know that and we operate in our authentic truth, we can flow like seamlessly.
Yeah.
I don't step on his toes. He don't step on my toes. But we complement each other so well. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it, where it's like the partnerships that you allow yourself to be in can blossom into something. Yeah. But I've learned that when we first started at the conference, like, those partnerships and that being submitted and being learning and being, humble.
Yeah.
Those things go a long way.
Yeah, man. Man, free game right there, man. For real, bro. Like, because I love the fact of, because I feel like I was in this place where I knew I started my podcast because I like to speak, I want to help people, all of that. But I turned around, I think it was like in 2023, I'm seeing everybody come out with a podcast. And I'm never going to be the guy to say, like, again, you shouldn't start something, you shouldn't do it. But I think it's to a place now where everybody has a platform. And I don't know if I want to say everybody shouldn't.
Everybody should not say get canceled.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of being canceled.
I'm
not, because you can't cancel something that's already dead. I died in myself every day.
Right.
I know that God called me to do things under his submission. So when I'm speaking truth, everybody shouldn't have a platform because they're leading people in a way that isn't beneficial. Yeah. So people just want to be seen. So there's a lot of ego-based podcasts.
For sure.
But there's not a lot of podcasts that's actually going to be fruitful. Yeah. I say something like this. It says in the word that you should know them by their fruit, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now let's go a little bit further. Is the fruit you're producing edible? Yeah. If I was to eat something you're offering, would it be nutrient to me, or would it be poisonous? Yeah. And if you look at it like that, that allows you to see clear. Because now it's like, okay, after I took a bite of this, what happened afterwards? Right. Did I feel energized? Did I feel hopeful? Did I feel like I can? Or did I feel like I was beat up a little bit, or I want to revert? So I always look at it like that. So if whatever you're doing is podcasting, business, whatever it is the fruit that you're producing edible? Yeah. But then on the deeper side to that, they'll hear you or know that it's not edible, but then they disguise it, they dress it up, right? It's just like so many things, right? Let's say you stand up for something, right? Yeah. And like how you just did, like, hey, I know what God has me on assignment for, so I'm going to speak that. And then now you labeled as a narcissist. Like, dang, I don't want a narcissist for doing, now we got all these different labels now, or even with, back to the example of, is it poisonous or is it edible? A lot of times people, they mask it or they switch up the two, like, what he's saying ain't edible because you don't receive it. It's not that it's not edible, it's just like, you ain't on that because you're not trying to hear that. Yeah. So I like that you brought out that point, and you kind of brought me into one of my next questions about when you talked a little bit about Just Create. So what formed Just Create, and how did you guys come together and say, hey, bro, I got this idea.
you the right person for it. Hey, bro, you the right person for it. Let's do it.
So, me and Dre been cool for a long time. I think we met like in 2016, 2017, right?
Yeah.
So, we would always like be in contact with each other. Like,
Yeah.
But it's funny, like we would literally talk maybe once or twice a year. But the once or twice a year that we talk, it'd be like long conversation.
Right.
So it was just like, it was just almost to the point where it was always there, but it never made sense in previous seasons for us to work. And it was just in a season where I felt like it was the most opportune time because now it was something that was suitable for both of us.
Yeah.
I came to him after I think it was Keon speaking conference. I did the alumni thing, and I didn't go to Western because it was Western's homecoming that weekend. And I felt like God said, all right, cool, because you didn't go to Western, even though you could have, I can trust you now.
Yeah.
He gave me stuff to just create, gave me people that go to, and then, he was like, listen, if they say yes, then they say yes. If they say no, don't even do anything. The right person's going to say yes. It wasn't too many people, but, Dre was the only person that said yes.
Yeah.
And then what's funny about it is, and then I'll end off this so he can pick it up basically. When I went there, he was just like, yo, everything that you have, that you talking about, bro, I've literally got on this piece of paper. And he had the notebook right there.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, bro, we here, so,
Yeah, I mean, to add to E, I still remember the whole conversation, him hitting me up, because I was working at a tech town at the time with my previous employer, and we met there, and I already had an idea of wanting to host like a classroom type setting to be able to coach, mentor, teach people in a way to kind of like guide them on an entrepreneurial journey.
Right.
I still do through Develop with Duffy, but that's more geared towards a specific audience. But when E came in and brought it to me with the idea of making sure that there was a spiritual component to it,
yeah,
I thought that was just like perfect alignment. And then he spoke about it earlier in terms of us being on our own journey. I've been on my own personal journey, spiritual journey, getting closer to God. And at that time, I wasn't as heavily involved with my walk as I start to be like further on. And honestly, I will say a large part of it, that shift happened because of E.
Yeah.
And I would say from like that time, I was like, when we were building out Just Create, I was still smoking, still drinking, still partying, not to the point where it got to be a problem, but it definitely was like an escape of some sort. And then you talk about like trying to cover it up and like clean something up. At some time, I did feel kind of awkward, like, man, I'm out here. I just did the whole event. I Just Create, Eric just spoke, and then I'm low-key trying to go smoke.
Right.
And then it got to these points where me and E started to just hold each other accountable on like very personal levels, to the point where he was like, we both need to read a book a month, or if you're going to do this, what I'm saying, I don't want you smoking or drinking just because that'll contradict what we're doing. And then for a minute, it was like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
And it was like a real pull on the tug on the shoulder, because it was like, do I really want to stop these things that make me comfortable to help build out Just Create? But I want to just give it to Eric, but hey, it was cool the first couple events, and it took like honestly some growth, took some time, but it really was just me telling myself like it's not about you.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that I enjoy about Just Create is it's not about me. It's about the impact. It's about the people. It's about like going back to servitude. It's like I have no problem with saying that, I'm glad to be able to serve my partner in this space because I'm able to help one build out something that's larger than us. Yeah. But from a business standpoint, it's also a learning opportunity because I've never built a brand, let alone a company with somebody else. I've only built like the Duffy Enterprise from my own lens. But now I get to see it through this, like from 2023 till now, like he said, from going out of pocket funding events to not knowing how many people are going to show up to us, like soon we drop a flyer, it's
for real.
You feel me? Sometimes, it's like I say we the yin and the yang because I get to still be myself. I party promoted, I've hosted parties and events, and I still get that thrill of like, and I still embody that. in this role, and it's just, it's just for Christ now. It's saying to provide. Like, I was slapping out a party on college campus, slapping out a party now, same type of time. It's like, I still get to be myself at the same time. It has a deeper meaning, it has a deeper appreciation, just for life, and helps me hold myself accountable when it comes to being obedient. And just strengthening my relationship, because we're not perfect. Nobody will ever be. There's only one person, obviously Jesus Christ. So for me, it's just making sure that I'm doing my due diligence, not to just talk about it, but actually be about it. Making sure that I'm doing my due diligence. Like, we prayed this morning, join my prayer calls, just doing the things that I know are best for me, not for an end goal or end result, but just because it's a part of my way of life.
Yeah, man. I love that, man.
Before you go, because you said something that I don't want the people to miss.
Yeah.
You said that, this environment allowed me to be myself, and now I'm just doing what I did prior, and now I'm doing it with Christ.
Yep.
And that is that's the biggest component that I wanted to emphasize with Just Create.
Yeah. Because
so many people think when you surrender your life to Christ, that you surrender the things that you was good at,
Right.
And it's like that. And I've always strived to debunk that myth, right?
Yeah.
Because Christ is the one that gave you the gift. Why would he want to take it away once you're serving him, right?
Yeah.
He wants to use it to glorify his kingdom, but then also, if he's getting glorified, you're also advancing as well too.
Exactly.
Like, he's trusting you so much that we're like, okay, I'm giving you the glory. He's like, now I'm going to give you more. So yes, you can give me more glory, but by your obedience, it attracts more people and stuff.
Right.
Because a lot of people are living life bound.
Yeah.
So they're afraid to really let go. They're afraid to be themselves because they don't want to be judged or anything.
Yeah.
And one thing I thought was beautiful too that Dre was talking about was the authentic truth of he said I was still doing the things I used to do, and I felt convicted and stuff, right? But one thing that Christ never did, he never judged them.
Yeah.
He just said, hey, like in Matthew 4:18, he says 4:18 through 20, he said, follow me and I'll make you fishers of men.
Yeah.
So that's a process. That's a process, meaning like you're not going to have everything right in that beginning. But if you follow me, you follow the things that I'm talking about, and you make me your teacher and everything, I will make you to the person that go gets the fish for the people, right? Fish for the men. And that's basically that's what's happening right now. Like, now, I'm not saying I did it, but just my obedience through Christ allowed him to feel free enough to say, I'm going to utilize these gifts in a different way.
Yeah.
And because of that, God is going to do more, because you're saying, okay, I'm gonna trust you with this. And seeing where things are now, where he's just like, I don't know how many days sober this dude is, but he was just like, just seeing that, when we first started, he was drinking, but now he's like, I don't know how many days sober I am, but because he looking right now, like, how many days sober am I? But that's just a powerful thing,
Been going on 8 months. I'll be a year in July.
Man.
Like July 22nd, something like that.
Let's wrap it up for that. Nah, for real. We need to support that, bro. Like, and one thing I love about both of y'all, man, like, just the vulnerability, the truth, because I feel like y'all have a real awareness of, like, man, like you said, Dre, like, it's not about me. It's not about me trying to hide what I did. It's not like I got people in the room that I may not know off the bat by looking at them, or they may not say it, but they going through what I'm going through, or they just going through stuff in general. Like, one thing I did dislike about sometimes that people do, they try to put like struggle on the tier. Like, well, if you say, man, I lost my mom. Well, I lost my mom, man. Like, bro, like we both going through. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Yeah. And we just trying to figure it out. And I love the fact of, like, what you said, Dre, about, like, man, I was with him and I was still doing these things. And it's like that truth. Like, what people don't understand, it's like this picture I always see floating around social media. It's like consistency is not, and it's like the cup is full and you doing something right every time. Mm-hmm. That's not what consistency looks like. Mm-hmm. Consistency looks like Monday, I was consistent. Tuesday, I was consistent, but I had some I had some moments in that day. Then Wednesday I probably was consistent. Then Thursday I wasn't. I was on, And it's like, I think more people need to not only see that, but hear that, man, because it's so important, because you was real, man. And I feel like a lot of that is missing, especially when you walk a Christian lifestyle. You was like, hey, man, I was ready to give it up, because on one end, you like, this my guy. We got something great going, but I don't want to be in this room. He's saying all of this, and then I leave and I'm on this.
Trying to go spark it. I ain't gonna lie, it would literally be like that. We'll have an event. We might have an event, and then probably like the next day, I'm sparking up. Yeah. Like, it just got to a point, and I remember this one time. This is probably like one of the funniest stories. I don't want to cut you off, but before you get back to it, is he remember it was at a Cocoon co-working spot, and then we was talking about our journeys and everything, and then he wanted to hold me accountable, so it was like I wanted to stop Kurt while I wash my mouth and I started smoking. And so he was like, I think it was like for every curse word, you got to do 10 push-ups or something like that, and then stop smoking. All right, my text him like, it's 300, like, it's steep on these push-ups. And I just sparked up because of that. And it was just, but it was like, it's funny now because I've never did anything like that, or at least had somebody to like at least trust enough to be like, hey, I'm about to hold you accountable. You say you're gonna, because it got to a point I would get on E like, hey, bro, if we're gonna do this, like, we need to run a business a certain way. We gotta have this certain order. We should have meetings. We need to have certain structure, certain order. And then he'd be like, all right, cool. He got his, he got on, his regiment, and he started to actively pursue the things that we talked about. Yeah. And he came back to me and was like, hey, this is what I did what you asked me to do. Now, in return, like, we got to be the best leaders, and that means like up front, like both as men, but also just as leaders within his community. And then when he hit me with that, I was like, well, then, fast forward now, like I said, I'll be a year sober in July, and so that's just one aspect of just life, but it just goes to show like it's just something I was able to let go of all throughout this, the process, and just kind of hold myself down on, and it just happened somebody to do it by your side. Like it started off like for real, as mutual friends, and a friendship grew. And it became like a brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? It's like it really became stronger over time. We didn't cry. We didn't had our happy moments. Like it's nothing that needs to be like hidden. Yeah, and I think that's what makes a partnership strong. He knows my personality. He knows if I'm being sarcastic or Drake's serious or okay, he just joking. And I know like, all right, Eric need a little moment or okay, something is wrong. It's like we know how to push each other's buttons, but we also know when the opportunity needs to be had over okay, something is up. Like let me check in. Yeah. And I think like that's a certain camaraderie that, especially within men, that we don't have. That I think is good to kind of like break the mold on, because you see a lot within the community for Black women, but when it's like for Black men, it's less sought after just because of the egos, the wanting to lead, wanting to be in the front. It's like I'm cool with just playing my role, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to get the same recognition I was going to have if I was more vocal or not. So it's not even about the recognition. It's just the fact that if the work is being done, there's no need for me to try to go all out and try to do everything, because at the end of the day, that's not what I'm here for. I'm more so ask him more, what do we need help with? Like, where's the areas to take off his plate than anything? And I think that just goes to show just how we do business, but just how we do life. Yeah. And y'all said a few things that I really enjoyed and that it hit home for me, man. As Dre was talking about his journey and, saying, man, I was kind of ready to be like, nah, man, I ain't even going to do this to E. I'm gonna just slide, because this is too much. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, bro, like that's the daily thought, like, yo, because I feel like everybody, unless you're just not self-aware, like, when you are here moving right and when you moving wrong. It don't matter how you was raised, it don't matter. Like, when something is convicting you, bro. Mm-hmm. And there was that conviction, but also that accountability of E saying, like, bro, I'm your brother. I can't, like, some people just can't see you go by the wayside. Like, as my pops would say, like, I just can't know Drake going through this and just be like,
let me not that. Like, no, bruh, I got his number. I'm with him every day, or I'm with him a good point or amount of times out the year. And it was like that conviction that you felt, but also it goes back to what he said, like people just stepping in, and he was obedient, like, and we think obedience just with our personal stuff. Like he was obedient in a way like, Dre, your brother, bro. Like, and something that always convict me just in life in general is like, when God showed me, like, bro, I left you accountable over this, and you gonna have to, when it's judged, you gonna have to answer for this. So when I left you accountable over Just Create, yeah, y'all got a good thing going, but when y'all was done, when y'all took all the party stuff down, y'all took all the stuff off the table, like, did you go check in with Dre? Did you make sure that Dre was cool? Did you make sure he was good? And that conviction, bro, I think is so important as men, as believers, because, bro, like, just imagine if you would have just let them go by the wayside. So just think about how many friends can't hold each other accountable. Like, no, bro, like we got something good going. And I love what you said, because my pops will always tell me this. Like, I'm still doing what I'm doing, even though I'm about to be a year sober. It just in the way that God would have it. Because a lot of us, we using our gifts, but not to uplift God. And I love the fact that he is like, no, we got a great thing going, and people gonna come. But we need to add this in here, because this is another way of me being obedient, bro. So I love that, because this guy said it the other day. He was like, man, when I started shifting and doing what I was supposed to do, and it's so weird, but that's how you know God is real, bro. Like, and it's crazy to say it like this, but like, when you go in a different direction, and you said it earlier in the podcast, E, like, when you shift and they don't shift with you, that ain't no problem. It's just to show you, like, this where you headed and that's where they headed. And not say that you better than them or nothing like that, or they're better than you, but it's like, that's how one of the ways that I know God is real, because you'll be like, God, remove me from all this catastrophe or all this negative stuff so I can be in alignment with you. And then you may lose a best friend, or you may lose somebody that you thought. And it's like, as soon as you start making the right choice, like, man, I ain't going out no more. Like, Dre, you lame. I'm lame. But it's crazy. You thinking in your head, like, how am I lame for getting my life together? But again, what my boy always say, defining the line. He like, yo, you know the guys you can call up and go to the hoop run with, but you ain't gonna call them same guys to go and sit down in the planning meeting, because they don't value that. So I just love that dynamic, bro. And it's clear that that's what makes y'all work. You even said it, Dre, like, y'all know how to push each other's buttons, but y'all also know, and God shows y'all when to say, hey, nah, he just needs to be to himself. And like, man, I got to check in, like, because I sense something is off, right? I just need to check in with him. And I love that part about, you know, the conviction and holding them accountable. Like, man, number one, we got a good thing going, but more importantly, I can't see my brother go out like this, man. So I just love that. And I think it's so vital and important to not just the gift that you have, but just your overall mental, bro. Because, you know, just imagine if you wouldn't have let him hold you accountable. It goes back to what he said earlier in the podcast about y'all both had to go on that journey. And even though it looked like y'all was going in different directions, y'all end up being on the same path as far as what y'all doing together. And you doing exactly, you being who you are. You ain't changed who you are in a sense of like, no, this still Dre still gonna be fun. Dre still gonna be the life of the party, gonna turn up, but it's different now. Now we was putting the posters up for this. Now we, hey, Just Create. Come on, man. We gonna uplift the name of Christ, man. And what my dad would always say, like, man, you down here on this video game. This video game ain't gonna get you nowhere. You giving all your energy into this. Put your energy into something that's gonna have you where God wants you to be. And it's like, man, I walk with that daily, bro. So it's great to hear that, bro. Like, that's a blessing. Y'all both gave some gems on that, man, and I appreciate that, man, because the vulnerability for me, and I'm not saying, you know, you kill somebody tonight, you got to tell everybody, and they're like, man, I just shot up the bank. Like, I ain't saying that, but it's like the fact that you like, man, I'm about to be a year sober because I just was obedient. I let God put all the things in place. I let him put E in my life to hold me accountable. I let him put me in my life to show me like, hey, let's add Christ as the component. Because if he ain't at the center, one, he can't get the glory, and then this ain't gonna take off. Because we not doing his will, we doing ours. And when we do ours, it it can't go the way that he intended it to, bro.
And
So I
what's
love
crazy
that,
about
man.
that is we've actually experienced that.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, even though we had, a focal point of Christ,
Yeah.
it was business, then Christ.
Mm.
So yeah, we had good events, but there would be no residue, or no impact. There's no people talking about it. You
Yeah.
feel me? So when we took that step back and Dre, told me we got to really do this for God, we got to do this right, legitimize all this stuff. I took that time and really sought God. Like, okay, God, let me do this your way, because he's the one that gave me the vision. I
Yeah.
think that's something that people do a lot. They actually hear from God and God does do things with them, but then they move ahead of God.
Right.
So then they're not consulting the person who gave them the thing they're doing.
Yeah.
So now when we flipped it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be completely bold. He's going to be the forefront.
Yeah.
At every event, we're going to talk about him.
Yeah.
And he's going to get the glory each time. When that happened, that's when everything started to shift. Because when I tell you, we low-key didn't do anything different.
Yeah.
Like, we'd be like, well, how you do it? Like, we low-key been doing the same thing. It's just now that Christ is the clear forefront. He is the clear headliner. He is the clear, hey, he's getting all this, Because now when we have events, the stuff that we wanted to happen, it happens for us. So we're not asking people anymore to do reviews or, talk about, they're doing it for us.
Right.
So like now the brand is speaking for itself.
Yeah.
And we haven't even really opened our mouths. A lot of people, it'll make like, hey, this is such videos. I'm not saying you can't do that.
Right.
But we have yet to really do like this is, E. Michael, this is Dre, this is what we do, just creating stuff.
Yeah.
People do that for us. Hey, we found this dope brand, just create, they do ABC, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I've been hitting like, it just, one thing that you said something earlier that made me think, when we was talking about the fruit portion, right?
Yeah.
You can always tell based off of the healing aspects and the results from what you do.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is how Jesus ministered, he taught something, and when he preached, it healed. He healed.
Yeah.
And because he healed, people would tell other what happened, right? And before he was ready to reveal himself, he like, just do one thing to me, don't tell anybody. But it was such a big thing. He's like, I can't keep this to myself.
Yeah.
I have to tell somebody what's going on. And we follow that same principle in Just Create, where we are teaching something that is so profound and so unique that people are literally getting healed in our events.
Yeah.
Whether that be from self-doubt, whether that be from depression, whether that be a fear of starting, whatever it is, in those rooms, there actually is healing in it. And because we have gave them some sort of clarity, helped them out in some way, they're like, I have to go tell somebody what I just learned.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we just follow the principles of the Bible.
Yeah.
And because we follow the principles of the Bibles, we get the results that the principles produce.
Yeah.
So it's like with every event, there's some type of scriptural foundation on each event. There's not one event where we do something that I don't have a scripture based on it, right?
Yeah.
And right now, God has me like in the book of Isaiah, and I really feel like this week is like a mixture of Joshua 24:15, which says, choose this day who you'll serve, but for me and my house will serve the Lord. Mm-hmm. And then Isaiah 43:18-19 is like, forget the former things of the past. Can you not see I'm doing a new thing, right?
Right.
Because it's what God been speaking to me about this event this weekend. He been giving me like, the words of redemption, revival, and reverence, right?
Yeah.
Because, let's get into it. We are building, or we're putting on together an event that is a Christian club.
Yeah.
And club is a trigger word.
Yeah. For sure.
People like, we had a comment that was like, the church is trying so hard to like the world instead of being the church.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I think that we do, we judge prematurely.
Yeah.
So the people in the church don't need to be in the church. Like they're already there to get healed, right?
Right.
It's people outside the church that need it. there's different things that happen. People might, you go to church, I've been judged. I don't like the pastor. I don't think they're perverting my money. Something happened, right? So that pushes them out of the church. But if we are to go make disciples amongst all nations, right?
Right.
How do you do that if somebody said, I'm not stepping foot back into a church?
Right.
All the club word is bait.
Right.
This is something that's going to bring people in that they're familiar with. And then once they get into the vicinity, they're like, wow, I didn't expect for what is happening in this room to happen in this room.
Yeah.
People are like, well, you guys got to do this. Listen, you don't got to come.
Right. I was about to say, you don't got to come.
But I know what God told me.
Right.
Because these people need it. And what we're doing is a form of mercy, right? So just because people might live a certain lifestyle, they don't deserve Christ.
Right.
You think because they go out and drink and smoke and have all that stuff and, they might lie, all that stuff, all sin's the same, but you think that they don't deserve Christ? You don't think they deserve an opportunity? They think that their opportunity is missed because they can't go to church.
Right.
So what do? You know what? God allowed me to create spaces that allow people to be themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I stopped, I'm like, dang, where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
You feel me? I don't drink no more. I don't do this. So like, I don't want to just stay at home.
Right.
And God was like, create a space.
Yep.
I was like, all right, cool. And then I found out there was more people like me.
Yeah.
That wanted a safe space.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out and have to worry about if the event gonna be shot up. I don't want to have to worry about if there's going to be a fight. I don't want to have to worry about if I'm getting too drunk and then I forget what's happening and then something happens to me, right?
Right.
These are real concerns.
Yeah.
So in this space, we're creating a space that allows you to have fun. But while we're having fun, we're going to glorify Christ.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that you leave impacted and changed.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, maybe I can do this again. Maybe I can walk with Christ again.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be like, oh, you come to our band and immediately you're changed. No. Just like Dre said, it took him a minute.
Right.
But if you commit to the process that we're building and just create, whatever you're facing, God's going to do it. And we're just the vessels, you feel me? Because he's given us a lot of things that we've given away. Even our last event, creative and stuff, right? That was the first time in a minute I see Dre just flowing. He was just happy and stuff. You feel me? Like, he was like, man, it's been a minute since I felt like I've been back in my Duffy. You feel me?
Yeah.
And that meant a lot to me because it was like, while he was cooking, I was off to the side on the virtual event.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how the event went, to be honest with you, but I trust him enough to listen, I don't have to be always in the front.
Yeah.
I'm going to let bro cook.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I love. It's like, listen, it'd be times where Dre cooking, it'd be times where I'm cooking. Then we got our partner Randy, where there's going to be time when she cooks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Shout out Randy. Okay.
You feel me? But we should cultivate an environment that allows people to cook, basically. Let's get you together. But yeah, I don't care what people think about what we're doing, bro. It's like, our goal is to win souls, change people's lives, and bring them back to Christ, and then show them how it looks to walk with Christ in freedom.
Yeah.
And actually, how do you be a person that is so bold and has so much authority that you can walk in it freely? You feel me?
Yeah.
And then succeed and thrive in it. So too often, people think that because you live for Christ, you got to be broke, depressed, all that struggling and stuff, right? No. That's not a God that I serve. Why would I serve a God who wants me to be, lacking things? Because if I'm lacking something, I have to choose. God doesn't want us to have, okay, am I going to choose to pay this bill or am I going to choose to be obedient? He doesn't want us to do that.
Right.
He wants us to be in a place where it's like, no, I'm going to provide for you. You feel me? That's why I say this year's evidence, because God has been providing for me. Yeah. And I'll be transparent, you feel me? Only thing that we paid for this event was a deposit on the venue and the artist. That was it.
Yeah.
Everything else was paid for by the event.
Yeah.
And I say that because somebody might need to hear that. They'd be like, I don't have the money to start. I don't have everything I need. All you have is all you need.
Yeah.
I had an idea. I put a deposit down because I knew this event was going to be the most expensive event that I ever put on. And I knew that I didn't have the liquid cash to front it.
Yeah.
But God knows that too.
Right.
And he wants to see, how much do you trust me?
For sure.
How much do you believe that the thing that I gave you will actually be seen, right? And I was like, you know what, God? I got you. I may only have enough for the deposit. He's like, that's all I need. Yeah. Think about the parable, not the story, not the parable, excuse me, the story with the 5 loaves and 2 fish, two
exactly.
With 2 and 5, I forgot which one it was, but the fish and the bread story. When he was like, God, all we have is this. Cool, bring it to me. And that's what God is saying.
Yeah.
Bring it to me and watch what I'll do. And that's what this event is.
Yeah.
We have a almost sold out event. I'm going to say we have a sold out event, not almost. I'm speaking into existence because it's about to happen. We have a sold out event that paid for itself. This event paid for the venue. This event paid for the art. This event paid for everything.
Yeah.
I'm not using my money.
Yeah.
God provided this. And somebody needs to hear that. All God needs is your yes. If God told you to do it and it's his will, it's his bill.
Yeah.
So he's going to front the cheese. Cool. I told you to do it. I have riches and glories in the heavens. You feel me?
Yeah.
I said I got brick rows of gold.
Yeah.
You don't think that I can give you a couple meaningless man-made dollars and stuff?
Yeah.
Stop limiting me to what you think I can do. You got to think beyond what you can see, Let's actually start testing out. Okay, guys, you say you this. I'm going to let my faith speak. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, trust you. Boom. This is what I'm going to do. And in me trusting you, I'm going to work and prepare like it's already happening.
Yeah.
And to think about this too, I'll end off with this, man. I was telling Dre this. This event, we've been promoting this event for almost 2 weeks. Not even 2 weeks yet. And there's almost 200 people that's going to be in the room.
Yeah.
Typically, that's not something you should do. You should not have an event be basically a week out.
Yeah.
And you're just now starting promotion.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter when guys hands on it.
Yeah.
So now we're about to have a sold out event on Saturday with 200 people. And we're going to be at the point where we're going to say, hey, we're at capacity. We can't let you in.
Yeah.
All because I believe that God could use the deposit of my faith.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I love the fact that how you keep highlighting, like, man, I'm not switching up who I am. I'm just being obedient to God. Nothing's changed about my personality. The only thing that's changed is my obedience.
Mm-hmm.
And you hit it right on the, head with it when you said, a lot of times it's people like, dang, I got to give all this up. People always look at what I can't do anymore. Mm-hmm. And they think like, man, I'm supposed to be broke. I'm supposed to be goody two shoes. And I'm not saying like you should be out here just wilding, but I think people see the Christian walk because I think they've been around people who've misrepresented Christ. Yeah, so now you like,
there you go.
Oh man, this how I gotta be. When it's like, God didn't say that. Or like you said, bruh, if you triggered by what it's called, like when you in college, the shoe club, the sports club, you not tripping on that. Cause but a Christian club, you triggered by club, okay, let's say for the sake of the argument, okay, you don't like the name. But when you, like you said, when you come in, like Keon once told us, man, like everybody's starting point could be their stopping point. So you gonna stop a blessing or some transformation in your life because of the word club. And then when you step in there, it's like, oh, dang, like I'm seeing people my age in here being healed from stuff, or even like you said, even if it's not the night of the event, but you seeing true change, you seeing other people that's going through the same thing that you're going through, man. And I love the fact that you like, in everything you do, you acknowledging God. And on top of that, it's like, bro, I don't gotta change who I am. I'm being who God created me to be. I'm just not on the whack stuff I was on before. I'm not on the type of time everybody else still on. Like, because I see he's trying to take that same personality, that same energy, and use it so I can get the glory. So I love that, bro. Like, because, man, just as a man or just as a young person trying to live for God, a lot of times I think people are so stiff and they feel like, man, I can't do this, I can't do that. But it's like, man, it's fun serving God. It's not to sit here and say like, because I think sometimes people are like, well, if I surrender my life, everything, like, bro, you still gonna have trials. It may even get even harder.
It will.
Because
if not, it will.
Yeah, like, because Satan realizes like, yo, you made a decision, a conscious decision on where you gonna go, and that's with God. So I'm gonna put all these things in place. Not to say like, okay, man, you finna wake up to a Benz tomorrow. Could happen, we don't, but it's like your problems are still gonna be your problems. But you're choosing to say, God, I'm gonna give you if it's not, it's his will, it's his bill. It's not just with monetary stuff, it's with that stuff that costs in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Them struggles, the being sober, the, addictions to certain things. Like, if you give it to me, you trying to give it to the club, you trying to give it to this girl, you trying to do,
man.
but it's not really doing nothing. But when you obedient, and that's from what we talked about, bro, that's the main key, just being obedient.
Yeah.
Like, and that has been the reason why you guys are successful. It's like, yeah, we can do what we doing, but God is constantly telling me this. I'd be crazy to ignore him. Because if I say I serve him, I gotta walk in that light too. I can't just talk about it.
Yeah.
Like Dre said, I gotta be about it. So man, that's bro, man, y'all don't know, man, y'all dropping gems. And this is exactly why I wanted to have y'all on for the season finale, man. So for you guys, as we get into, our last segment of the show,
yeah,
what would you guys say is, from your perspective and your experience, for those who are creators, those who are content creators, or just people trying to be in this space, what is some advice that you would give them?
One of the things that first came to mind is never stop learning.
Yeah.
You have to be a student of the game.
Yep.
You have to figure out ways to be innovative. You have to figure out ways to disrupt. You have to figure out ways to create, because there's always going to be somebody new entering the market. The market isn't going to change unless somebody ends up changing it or disrupting it. That's why they call them disruptors. Like the app Uber, that was a disruptor for the cab market, or vehicles who offer service, curbside service. So you have to always study and be a student of the game, continuously learn. And I would say one thing that I've noticed that has been something that's unique, at least within the world of entrepreneurship and business, is don't be afraid to do the thing that nobody else is doing.
Right.
It's like sometimes that weird, crazy, awkward video, t-shirt, concept, song ends up being the new fad.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go against the grain. One artist that I really like right now is Doechii. Like, you listen to her music or you see her visuals, it's different, it's unique. It's something that it has a twist, but you listen to her lyrics, she has messages, but it's coming in such a very organic, authentic way that's like, that's her.
Yeah.
And she separates herself. And I think a lot of times people just have to figure out ways to do that. And the best way to do it is to be a student of the game and understand that you have to figure out ways to just get yourself out there. And sometimes it may be in the most unorthodox ways, but it's doing it without fear, it's doing it without recognizing any type of opposition, if there is, quote unquote. So that would be like my 2 cents.
Yeah. Sure. Love it, bro.
Yeah. I had to. You said, be a disruptor, and it's crazy you said that, because I wrote that on my board this month. Because I'll keep mine sweet, but I still gotta,
For sure.
So this is my first month of being a full-time entrepreneur, right? And it's crazy because it wasn't supposed to be set up like this. Because I put my 2 weeks in my job, and then I was expecting a job. And I'm like, okay, I didn't kill these interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
Call me back Saturday and get it. And I was like, before that happened, I felt like God was telling me, this is your month to prepare for what you're asking for, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I wrote down on my board like a 90-day run, wrote like a lot of stuff down that will happen. And one of the things, I think I put like the goal for the 90 days. Cause a disruption and make impact.
Yeah.
So when he said that, it triggered me in a good way, because it's like, there are things that when you start off as a young entrepreneur, creative, in general, whoever, that disruption is critical to the advancement.
Yeah.
Because if you don't stop certain things that's plaguing you,
Yeah.
you won't ever get to the place where you need to go. So it wasn't until I stopped having sex and stopped drinking and stopped smoking and stopped running and stopped putting my peace or my vulnerability into other things, right?
Yeah.
Until I got clarity on what it was I was supposed to do. And those disruptions are big, scary things because it's like, I used to be known for these.
Yeah.
So now, not only am I disrupting, I'm basically saying that version of me is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else knows this version of me too. So how is that going to look? And what God is saying, it's going to look beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm unfolding something not only to you, but to others. So that private session you have with yourself is very critical, because if you don't make the decision to disrupt things in your life, you'll never see the things that you want to change. Like the things that we're asking for is like, I want to be a 6-figure earner, or I want the family, or I want the husband or the wife, or all these things, right? Well, you can't get that if you don't stop doing certain things.
Right.
How you gonna be a 6-figure earner, but you don't know how to manage, $1,000, $100
Right.
for it, right?
Right.
You gotta disrupt your bad habits.
Right.
So you have to take that time to yourself and say, I am willing to do whatever it takes because I want to see the person that God showed me, my eyes closed.
Yeah.
I'm willing to let certain things die. I'll disrupt patterns. I'll change whatever I need to change because I want to see the change. I want to be the change. I want to experience the change, because nobody is going to invest in something that looks the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The things that usually take off
Mm-hmm.
always look different and look weird, like he said in the beginning.
Yeah.
So yeah, these things that we're doing right now, that's interesting. I talked to Jerry about this in one of our meetings. I'm like, it's a lot of curiosity in our brain.
Yeah.
And we're going to play on that.
Yeah.
We're going to emphasize on that. We're going to push on that. We want people to always be curious. We want people to always feel like they're missing out. But when they're in it, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And we're not selling anything that we're not doing ourselves. So I think for anybody that's starting off, don't be afraid to disrupt you.
Yeah.
And then try it. Do it scared. Do the work. Do the work behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how long it's going to take. Just know what's going to happen. And say, you know what? I am willing to do whatever it takes today, tomorrow, and forevermore to get to where God showed me.
Yeah, man. I love that, man. And man, this is, man, even though we on the podcast, man, y'all taught me a lot, man. And I just, again, man, I'm always a big person who loves giving people their flowers while they can smell them, man. So again, I love what y'all doing, bro. And love what y'all doing, bro. And y'all know it's always love and support this way, man. And I just want to give y'all the opportunity to kind of, before we get into the rapid fire questions, just talk about your event. Where is it going to be? What time and everything. Just want to give y'all the opportunity, man.
This Saturday, next door.
Yes, sir. Yep.
It's casual, not Katie.
You feel me? We got the VIP hour starting at 8 o'clock. That's from 8 to 9. And the door open at 9, and that's when the show starts for it. So this Saturday, March 15th, 8 o'clock for VIP, 9 o'clock for the other very important people.
Sure.
What's it called? And yeah, we turn up, man. Like
VIP and CPG.
So yeah.
Yeah, man. And we're going to get into the rapid fire questions. This is the Let Me Get to Know You portion of the podcast. So this first question, just say the movie that comes to mind. So your favorite black film of all time.
ATL.
Okay.
Don't be a menace to society while drinking juice in the hood.
Said the whole thing.
That's how you know it's real.
Bro, I don't know why it's my favorite movie, bro. Back yourself, fool.
Man,
sorry.
shout out to Marlon Wayans and them, man. I'm going to go, it's hard to top them. I'm going to say the first one that came to my mind is definitely, probably because I'm trying to watch this again, Johnson's Family Vacation. I like that.
Got you.
Got Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer. But both of those good, man. That boy T.I. snatched that chain off Lauren London.
Give me my necklace back. Why?
Yeah.
Because it needs something.
Man, on them nights on BET watching them shows, man, they don't know, man. They used to streaming now. But what is a new hobby that you've either started or that you would like to pick up?
I want to pick up pottery.
Pottery, okay.
Pottery.
I don't know if I want to pick it up, but I said I'll try it. Pilates.
Pilates.
Hip flexors, boy.
That's something I've been interested in. I might do that.
Man, for me, that might be tough. Maybe like design and stuff. I want to get at it go, like, graphic design. I'm a person like, I'm going to go to people who are experts in their field, but just to have that experience to be able to, later down the line help somebody, I say I'm going to pick that up, being able to do graphic design. Mm-hmm. What is a song, this is my last one, what is a song that describes your life right now?
It's a good one.
So it's between Pastor Mike Jr., Amen, or Bianca Cruz. I'm saying it correctly. If she watches this, I'm sorry. I know we're gonna meet one day. Don't be mad at me. Are you ready? Because like in both of those songs, it's basically saying like, this is gonna be my year. Are you ready for what you're asking for? Are you preparing for? Are you working towards? Like those two songs. When I need to get in that mode, like really just reminding myself, I put on Pastor Mike Jr., Amen, or I put on Bianca Cruz, Are You Ready?
Yeah.
I'm coming Jay-Z. Dirt off your shoulders. Yeah. Just when the beat drop. You're not two greatest. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's one song that I play. I play that in the shower, in the gym, as soon as I wake up, on the way. It just get me going, you know? And then it just, that was on the Black album. So it was like, that's one of his greatest albums. Yeah. And then two, it's just like, I probably owe it to y'all. Probably be locked by the boss. Like just everything he was just talking. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Jay-Z, one of my favorite artists. So just, sometimes you got to get the dirt off your shoulders. Yeah,
man. I would say for me, this time I'm gonna go to gospel rock like my guy E. I'm a big Jonathan McReynolds fan. Okay, boy, goated. I would say one of his older songs. No Gray, he talks about like how, he's living this double life and it's like he got to choose. He has this lyric where, I want to serve you, but I want to be cool, and, I just think that's so vital for me, aspiring to continue to grow my faith in God and my relationship and walk with him, because I'm involved in so much where I'm around young kids that are impressionable about the things that I say, the things that I do. So I find that most important. I could care less what people think about me. I think I'm more so of a person like, man, if I stood in front of a crowd and talked, and then I know what I'm like behind closed doors. Yeah. I care more about what I do when nobody's watching. Mm-hmm. So it's like, man, he talks about how it can't be any gray area. You either gonna be on this side or you're not. So, man, I love that, man. Before we get out of here, if y'all want to, man, I want y'all to give the people that are watching some free game going into continuing 2025. What's some free game y'all got for them that's going to help them along the way?
Trust God.
Follow your Texas.
That's a good combo. Trust God, follow your taxes.
Correctly.
Yeah.
Don't be.
It's the right way to do it.
I can get you about 10,000. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that one. Mm-hmm. That ain't good. It's going to get you 10 years. So, hey, maybe more. But trust God, follow your taxes. The right way. Emphasis on the right way. Man, appreciate y'all for pulling up to the podcast, again, man. Y'all know it's all love, support. Thank y'all for tuning in for the season finale of the converSAYtion podcast. We'll see y'all same time, same place next season. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.